The following minutes and hours are designed for rest and the quiet observation of the mind. There is no need to focus intently or remember the details of what is being shared. The tone will remain consistent and low, providing a safe space for the transition into sleep. We will explore the quiet mechanics of the dreaming mind and the gentle ways in which awareness can exist within that space. It is a natural process that requires no effort. A single human brain is capable of generating more electrical impulses in a day than all the telephones in the world combined. Welcome to this space of quiet reflection and soft information. You are in a safe and comfortable position, and there is nothing you need to do other than exist here in this moment. The information provided is intended to be a gentle companion to your rest, a series of calm observations about the nature of dreams and the quiet possibilities of the sleeping brain. As we move through these facts, the goal is not to stimulate the mind, but to provide it with a slow, rhythmic flow of thought that mirrors the natural cycles of sleep. There is a vast landscape within the mind that reveals itself when the body is at rest, and we will look at this landscape with a neutral and steady gaze. Everything is slow, everything is predictable, and everything is focused on maintaining your sense of peace as you drift closer to sleep. The phenomenon of lucid dreaming occurs when an individual becomes aware that they are dreaming while the dream is still in progress. This state of awareness does not necessarily wake the person up, but instead allows for a unique form of consciousness where the dreamer is a participant in their own internal narrative. It is estimated that about half of all people will experience at least one lucid dream in their lifetime, often occurring spontaneously without any specific intention. This awareness typically happens in the stage of sleep known as rapid eye movement, or REM sleep, which is when the most vivid and structured dreams occur. During REM sleep, the brain is highly active, often reaching levels of activity similar to when a person is awake, while the body remains in a state of temporary paralysis to prevent the physical acting out of dream movements. This biological mechanism ensures that while the mind explores complex scenarios, the body remains safe and still. The prefrontal cortex is a region of the brain associated with complex cognitive behavior, decision-making, and moderating social behavior. In a typical dream, this part of the brain is less active, which is why dreams often lack logical consistency or a clear sense of time. However, during a lucid dream, the prefrontal cortex shows increased levels of activity. This subtle shift in brain chemistry and electrical signaling allows for the return of self-awareness and logical reasoning within the dream state. It is a delicate balance of neural activity that sits between the deep immersion of standard dreaming and the full alertness of wakefulness. Scientists use electroencephalograms to monitor these changes, noting the specific frequencies of brain waves that correlate with this state of heightened dream awareness. One common method for encouraging the state of dream awareness is the practice of reality testing. This involves performing simple checks throughout the day to determine whether one is awake or asleep. By making these checks a habit during waking hours, the mind may eventually perform them during a dream. A common reality test involves looking at a clock or reading a line of text, looking away, and then looking back. In the fluid environment of a dream, these details often change or appear distorted, signaling to the mind that it is currently in a dream state. Another technique is the observation of one's own hands, as the brain often struggles to render the fine details of fingers and skin consistently in a dream. These small, repetitive actions create a bridge between the waking and dreaming worlds, grounded in quiet observation. The concept of dream control is distinct from lucid dreaming itself. While lucidity is the mere awareness of being in a dream, control is the ability to influence the events, environment, or characters within that dream. Not all lucid dreams involve control. Sometimes a person is simply a conscious observer of the dream's natural progression. Control is often described as a skill that can be developed over time through patience and calm intention. It does not require force or intense concentration, but rather a soft suggestion to the dreaming mind. If a dreamer wishes to change their surroundings, they might imagine a door behind them that leads to a new location. This reliance on expectation and subtle cues is more effective than trying to command the dream through sheer will. The duration of REM sleep cycles increases as the night progresses. The first REM period of the night may only last a few minutes, while the final cycles before waking can last up to an hour. Because lucid dreams are most frequent during these longer, later stages of REM, they often occur in the early morning hours. This is why many people report having their most vivid or controlled dreams just before they wake up for the day. The brain has already completed several cycles of deep, restorative sleep and is now spending more time in the lighter, more active stages of dreaming. The body is fully rested, allowing the mind to linger in these internal spaces with greater clarity. Temperature can also play a role in the quality and frequency of dreams. A cool environment is generally considered optimal for the body to transition through the various stages of sleep. If a room is too warm, it can lead to fragmented sleep and frequent awakenings, which might interrupt the natural flow of REM cycles. Conversely, a stable, cool temperature supports the long, uninterrupted periods of REM sleep where dream awareness is most likely to occur. The physical comfort of the body provides the foundation upon which the dreaming mind can build its complex structures. The history of dream study spans many cultures and centuries. While modern science uses neuroimaging and sleep studies to understand the brain, ancient traditions also observed the nature of sleep with great detail. Some cultures practiced forms of dream yoga, where the goal was to maintain a steady spark of awareness through all stages of sleep and wakefulness. These practices were not about excitement or fantasy, but about the cultivation of a calm, unwavering presence. They viewed the dream state as an opportunity to observe the mind in its most fluid form, learning about the nature of perception and the self without the distractions of the external world. Mnemonic induction of lucid dreams, or mild, is a technique developed by sleep researchers to increase the likelihood of dream awareness. It involves setting a clear intention before falling asleep. As a person lies in bed, they might repeat a simple phrase to themselves, such as, "Next time I'm dreaming, I will remember that I'm dreaming." This phrase is repeated slowly and rhythmically, allowing the intention to settle into the subconscious mind. It is a form of prospective memory, which is the ability to remember to perform a planned action in the future. By focusing on this quiet intention, the mind remains subtly attuned to the possibility of awareness, even as it descends into sleep. The sensory experiences within a dream can be remarkably detailed. Though the eyes are closed and the room is quiet, the dreaming brain can generate sensations of light, sound, touch, and even smell. These sensations are produced by the same neural pathways that process real-world stimuli. When a dreamer sees a blue sky, the visual cortex is active in a way that mimics actual sight. This internal simulation is so convincing because the brain is processing these signals as if they were coming from the external environment. In a lucid dream, these sensations can become even more vivid, as the dreamer's awareness allows them to focus on the fine textures of a dream object or the specific melody of a dream sound. Some researchers believe that dreaming serves as a form of threat simulation or social rehearsal. By placing the dreamer in various scenarios, the brain can practice responses to challenges in a safe, consequence-free environment. Lucid dreaming takes this a step further by allowing the dreamer to consciously engage with these simulations. If a person faces a recurring challenge in their dreams, achieving lucidity allows them to approach the situation with a sense of calm and agency. They can choose to stay and observe, or they can gently alter the narrative to find a peaceful resolution. This process can contribute to a sense of confidence and emotional balance that carries over into waking life. The transition from wakefulness to sleep is known as hypnagogia. During this phase, a person may experience brief flashes of imagery, sounds, or the sensation of falling. These are not full dreams, but rather the initial sparks of the dreaming mind as it begins to disconnect from the external world. For those interested in dream awareness, the hypnagogic state is a point of interest because it represents the very threshold of sleep. By maintaining a soft, detached focus during this transition, it is possible to enter a dream while staying fully conscious. This is sometimes referred to as a wake-initiated lucid dream. It requires a high degree of relaxation and a willingness to let the body fall asleep while the mind remains a quiet observer. The stillness of the body during sleep is maintained by the pons and the medulla oblongata, located in the brainstem. These structures send signals to relax the muscles, ensuring that the physical body remains resting while the mind is active. In the context of dream awareness, this physical stillness provides a stable anchor. When a dreamer realizes they are within a dream, they may occasionally feel a slight sensation of their physical body lying in bed. This dual awareness, being conscious of the dream environment and the resting physical form, is a common experience in the early stages of lucidity. It is a neutral, weightless sensation that reinforces the safety of the sleep environment. Expectation is the primary law of the dream world. Because a dream is a purely mental construct, the events that unfold are often governed by what the dreamer expects to happen next. This is why maintaining a calm and neutral emotional state is helpful for those who wish to explore dream control. If a dreamer approaches a situation with a sense of quiet curiosity, the dream typically responds in a stable and predictable manner. If a dreamer expects to see a specific object, such as a book on a table, the brain utilizes its vast library of memories and associations to render that object into the dream space. The more stable the expectation, the more detailed and consistent the dream imagery becomes. The wake back to bed technique is another method supported by sleep research for increasing the frequency of lucid dreams. This involves waking up after approximately 5 or 6 hours of sleep, staying awake for a short period of relative quiet, perhaps 20 to 30 minutes, and then returning to sleep. During this brief period of wakefulness, the mind becomes alert while the body remains primed for REM sleep. When the person returns to sleep, they often enter a REM cycle directly, with a much higher level of mental clarity. This technique leverages the natural architecture of human sleep, specifically the density of REM periods in the latter half of the night, to create a window for conscious dreaming. Within the dream state, the perception of time can vary. While studies have shown that tasks performed in a lucid dream take roughly the same amount of real time as they would in the waking world, the subjective experience of time can feel stretched or compressed. A dream that feels like it lasted for hours may only have occupied a 20-minute REM cycle. This elasticity of time is a natural function of how the brain processes information when it is not bound by external chronological cues. For the dreamer, this creates an expansive space for observation and reflection, where there is never a sense of rush or urgency. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections, is also relevant to the study of dreams. Regularly engaging in dream awareness exercises can actually change the physical structures of the brain over time. Areas associated with self-reflection and metacognition may become more developed. This suggests that the quiet practice of observing one's dreams is not just a nighttime activity, but a way of training the brain toward greater mindfulness and awareness in all states of being. The mind becomes more adept at recognizing its own patterns, leading to a more harmonious internal environment. The characters encountered in dreams are projections of the dreamer's own mind. In a standard dream, these characters may seem to have their own independent wills and personalities. In a lucid dream, the dreamer can interact with these figures with the understanding that they are facets of their own subconscious. This realization often leads to a sense of profound peace and integration. Instead of viewing dream elements as external or mysterious, they are recognized as parts of a single, unified consciousness. Interacting with dream characters can be a way of exploring different aspects of one's own memory, creativity, and personality in a safe and controlled setting. The colors in dreams are often as vibrant as those in the waking world, though some people report dreaming in muted tones or even black and white. For many, achieving awareness within a dream causes the colors to become more saturated and the lighting to become more distinct. This is likely due to the increased blood flow to the visual processing centers of the brain during periods of lucidity. The dreamer might notice the specific shade of a leaf or the way light reflects off a surface, finding a sense of wonder in the brain's ability to generate such vivid detail from within. These visual observations are a common way to stabilize the dream state, as focusing on fine details helps to ground the awareness. A phenomenon known as false awakening occurs when a person dreams that they have woken up, often performing their usual morning routine within the dream. This can be a confusing experience, but it is also a prime opportunity for dream awareness. If a person has practiced reality testing, they may notice small inconsistencies in their bedroom or bathroom that reveal they are still asleep. Recognizing a false awakening allows the dreamer to transition smoothly into a lucid state, often with a high degree of clarity because the dream environment is so familiar and grounded in reality. The vestibular system, which governs balance and spatial orientation, remains active during sleep. This is why dreams often involve sensations of movement, such as floating, flying, or walking. In a lucid dream, these sensations can be explored intentionally. Because the body is paralyzed and not sending actual movement signals from the limbs, the brain relies entirely on the internal vestibular sense. This results in a feeling of lightness or effortless motion that is frequently described as one of the most relaxing aspects of the lucid dreaming experience. There is no physical strain, only the smooth perception of moving through space. In the quiet of the night, the brain also engages in memory consolidation. It sifts through the events of the day, deciding what information to store and what to discard. Dreams are often a byproduct of this process, as the brain weaves together new experiences with existing memories. When a dreamer becomes lucid, they are essentially witnessing this filing system in action. They may see elements of a conversation from 3 days ago mixed with a landscape from a childhood vacation. Understanding that dreams are a natural part of the brain's maintenance work can make the experience feel very practical and safe, a routine cleaning of the mental house. Dream stability is a term used to describe how long a lucid dream lasts before the dreamer either wakes up or falls back into a non-lucid state. A common technique for maintaining stability is the act of spinning in circles within the dream or rubbing one's dream hands together. These actions provide the dreaming brain with a surge of kinesthetic and tactile data, which helps to keep the conscious mind anchored in the dream environment. It is a physical solution to a mental state, using the simulated senses to stay present in the moment. Like all aspects of dream control, these techniques are most effective when performed calmly and without a sense of frantic effort. The pre-lucid state is a transitional phase where the dreamer begins to suspect they are dreaming but has not yet fully realized it. They may notice something strange and think, "This is odd," without making the final leap to "this is a dream." This state is a natural part of the learning process. It represents the mind's growing ability to question its surroundings. Over time, these moments of suspicion become more frequent and eventually lead to full awareness. It is a slow and gradual awakening of the critical faculty within the sleeping mind, a quiet evolution of consciousness that happens in its own time. The auditory landscape of a dream is constructed with the same precision as the visual elements. While the physical ears are resting in a quiet room, the auditory cortex remains capable of generating complex sounds, ranging from the gentle rustle of leaves to the intricate harmonies of music. In a state of dream awareness, a person might notice that these sounds possess a depth and clarity that rivals waking life. Some dreamers report hearing melodies that they have never heard before, suggesting that the brain's creative capacity is heightened when freed from external noise. These sounds are not heard through the ears, but are experienced directly by the brain, creating a seamless and immersive sonic environment that supports a feeling of deep, internal focus. Gravity in the dream state is often a matter of perception rather than a physical constant. Because the dreaming mind is not subject to the laws of physics, the sensation of weight can be modified by the dreamer's expectations. Many who find themselves aware within a dream describe a feeling of buoyancy, as if the air around them has the density of water, allowing for slow, graceful movements. This lack of heavy physical pressure contributes to the overall sense of relaxation associated with the experience. The body feels unburdened, and the mind is free to move through the environment with a quiet fluidity that is impossible in the waking world. The role of the amygdala, the part of the brain involved in processing emotions, is significant during REM sleep. In standard dreams, the amygdala can be quite active, leading to dreams that feel emotionally intense. However, when the prefrontal cortex becomes more active during a lucid dream, it exerts a calming influence on the amygdala. This shift allows the dreamer to observe even complex or unusual dream scenarios with a sense of detached tranquility. Instead of reacting with fear or excitement, the aware dreamer can maintain a neutral, balanced perspective, turning the dream into a space of emotional regulation and quiet contemplation. The concept of the dream body refers to the self-representation that the brain creates while dreaming. Most people perceive themselves as having a body similar to their physical one, though it may feel lighter or more versatile. In a lucid dream, one can observe this self-representation with neutral curiosity. A dreamer might notice the sensation of their feet touching the ground or the feeling of a cool breeze against their skin. These sensations are purely the result of neural simulation, yet they feel entirely real to the consciousness experiencing them. This highlights the incredible power of the human brain to create a coherent and convincing reality entirely from within itself. Light within a dream does not always have a single point of origin like the sun or a lamp. Often, the entire dream environment is suffused with a soft, even glow that seems to come from everywhere at once. This ambient lighting is common in sleep-optimized dreaming, as it prevents harsh shadows or jarring contrasts that might startle the mind. The light is usually described as having a pearlescent or golden quality, which contributes to the feeling of safety and warmth. By observing the nature of this light, a dreamer can further stabilize their awareness, noting how it interacts with the textures and colors of the dream objects without ever becoming too bright or overwhelming. The ability to recall dreams upon waking is a skill that can be strengthened through the simple act of intention. When a person decides to remember their dreams, they are signaling to the brain that this internal information is valuable. Keeping a dream journal is a common practice for those interested in dream awareness, as the act of writing down fragments of a dream immediately after waking helps to bridge the gap between the sleeping and waking minds. Over time, this practice makes the transition between these states feel more continuous and less like a sudden break. The memories of the night become part of a steady, calm stream of consciousness that remains accessible throughout the day. The phenomenon of dream signs involves identifying recurring themes or objects that appear in one's dreams over time. These signs are unique to each individual and can range from a specific animal to a recurring architectural feature or a particular person from the past. By becoming familiar with these signs in the waking world, the mind becomes more likely to recognize them within a dream. This recognition acts as a gentle trigger for awareness. Seeing a dream sign is like finding a familiar landmark in a forest. It provides a sense of orientation and allows the dreamer to realize exactly where they are, within the safe and familiar confines of their own mind. A significant portion of dream control is based on the principle of displacement. This means that if a dreamer wants to change a dream element, they do not need to struggle against what is already there. Instead, they can simply turn away and then look back, expecting to see something different. For example, if a dreamer finds themselves in an indoor setting and wishes to be outside, they might simply imagine that the door behind them leads to a quiet garden. When they turn and open the door, the brain, following the path of least resistance and clear expectation, renders the new scene. This method of gentle transitions mirrors the way thoughts flow from one topic to another during a relaxed state of mind. The pre-sleep period is a vital time for setting the conditions for a peaceful night of dreaming. Engaging in low-stimulation activities, such as reading neutral text or listening to calm recordings, helps the brain transition away from the complexities of the day. This reduces the amount of mental noise that the brain has to process during the early stages of sleep. A quiet, uncluttered mind is more likely to enter REM cycles with the clarity required for dream awareness. The goal is to create a seamless glide into the sleeping state, where the boundaries between quiet thought and the beginning of a dream are soft and indistinct. Biological rhythms, specifically the circadian rhythm, dictate the timing of REM sleep. The body's internal clock is sensitive to light and darkness, signaling the release of melatonin to initiate the sleep process. As the night continues and melatonin levels fluctuate, the brain naturally moves into the deeper REM stages toward morning. Understanding this rhythm allows a person to align their intentions with their biology. By respecting the natural cycles of the body, the dreaming mind is given the best possible environment to flourish. There is no need to rush or force the process. The brain knows exactly how to navigate the transition into the dreaming world. The sense of taste and smell in dreams is less common than sight and sound, but it is equally possible. These sensations are often linked to strong memories or specific associations. In a lucid dream, a dreamer might experiment with tasting a piece of fruit or smelling a flower. The brain reproduces these experiences by accessing the neural pathways associated with those specific sensory memories. Because these experiences are self-generated, they often have a purity and intensity that feels distinct from the physical world. It is a quiet reminder of the brain's vast capacity to store and recreate every detail of one's life experience. The concept of incubation involves focusing the mind on a specific topic or question before sleep, with the hope that the dream state will provide insights or perspectives on it. In the context of relaxing science facts, one might focus on the vastness of the ocean or the movement of the stars. This provides the dreaming brain with a neutral and calming theme to build upon. As the person falls asleep, the mind carries this theme into the dream, resulting in a cohesive and peaceful narrative. This practice is not about solving problems through effort, but about allowing the subconscious to reflect on a topic in a slow, expansive way. Dreaming is an inherently private and solitary experience. Every landscape, character, and sensation is created by you, for you. This creates a unique sense of autonomy and safety. Within the dream, you are the creator and the observer simultaneously. In a lucid state, this realization brings a deep sense of calm, as there is nothing in the dream that is not a part of yourself. This internal harmony is the cornerstone of a restful night. The dreaming mind acts as a sanctuary, a place where the noise of the outside world is replaced by the soft, rhythmic patterns of internal thought and imagery. The use of specific scents, such as lavender or sandalwood, in the sleeping environment can subtly influence the content of dreams. While the nose does not smell in the traditional sense while one is deep in REM sleep, the olfactory system is still connected to the brain's emotional centers. A calming scent can promote a more positive and stable dream environment. This is a form of sensory priming, where the physical conditions of the room provide a gentle suggestion to the brain that it is safe to rest and explore the dream state with tranquility. The relationship between the dreaming brain and the physical environment is a delicate one, often characterized by a process called sensory incorporation. This happens when a real-world sound or sensation is woven into the narrative of a dream. For instance, the steady rhythm of a fan in the bedroom might be interpreted by the dreaming mind as the soft hum of a distant engine or the sound of wind moving through a valley. In a state of dream awareness, a person can observe this process as it happens. They might hear the sound in the dream and simultaneously recognize its origin in the physical room. This dual awareness is not jarring, rather, it feels like a soft layering of two different realities, each existing in a state of quiet harmony. The motor cortex, which is responsible for planning and executing movements, remains highly active during dreaming. Even though the body is kept still by the brainstem, the motor cortex continues to fire signals as if the person were actually walking, reaching, or moving. This internal activity is what makes the sensation of movement in dreams feel so authentic. When a dreamer decides to move their arm in a lucid dream, the brain uses the same neural architecture it uses in waking life. This creates a sense of physical consistency within the dream world, allowing the dreamer to interact with their environment with a predictable sense of coordination and space. The concept of the dream void is a term used to describe the quiet, dark space that a dreamer might find themselves in when a dream scene ends before a new one begins. This space is often a place of profound stillness and peace. Instead of feeling empty or alarming, the void is experienced as a neutral area of potential, where the mind is resting between projections. For those who practice dream awareness, staying calm in the void is a way to transition into a new dream scene with clarity. By remaining still and maintaining a soft expectation, the dreamer can wait as the next environment slowly coalesces around them, beginning with a few simple shapes or colors and gradually becoming a full, immersive landscape. Visual perception in dreams is not limited by the range of a human eye. Because the brain is generating the imagery directly, some dreamers report experiencing a panoramic or 360-degree field of vision. This allows for a unique perspective on the dream environment, where the dreamer can be aware of everything happening around them without needing to turn their head. This expanded awareness contributes to the feeling of being an omnipresent observer within one's own mind. It is a slow and expansive way of perceiving space, where every detail of the internal world is available for gentle inspection. The hippocampus plays a vital role in organizing the information that appears in dreams. As the center for memory and navigation, it helps the brain construct the settings where dreams take place. If a dreamer finds themselves in a place that feels like a mixture of their childhood home and a park they visited recently, it is the result of the hippocampus blending different spatial memories. In a lucid dream, the dreamer can appreciate the creativity of this architectural blending. They might walk through a hallway and notice that the windows look out onto a completely different geography, accepting these shifts as a natural and interesting part of the brain's organizational process. Sleep spindles are short bursts of oscillatory brain activity that occur during non-REM sleep. These spindles are thought to play a role in memory consolidation and protecting the brain from being woken up by external noises. While they occur outside of the main dreaming phase, they contribute to the overall stability of the sleep cycle. A brain that produces consistent sleep spindles is often better at maintaining the deep, uninterrupted sleep necessary for long REM periods later in the night. This biological background noise provides a sturdy foundation for the dreaming mind, acting as a rhythmic shield that keeps the sleeper tucked safely within their rest. The emotional tone of a lucid dream can be influenced by the observer effect. This is the idea that the act of observing a dream with awareness naturally stabilizes it. In a standard dream, the mind is often swept along by the momentum of the plot. In a lucid dream, the introduction of a conscious observer slows the pace of the dream. The dreamer can stop and look at the reflection in a pool of water or the texture of a stone wall, and the dream responds by becoming more detailed and less frantic. This slowing down mirrors the physical relaxation of the body, creating a feedback loop of tranquility that supports continued sleep. Research into dream lucidity has also explored the use of external triggers, such as soft lights or specific sound frequencies, to induce awareness. These devices are designed to provide a gentle signal that the dreamer is in REM sleep without being strong enough to wake them. When the dreamer sees a soft red glow in their dream, they may recognize it as the signal from their sleep mask. This external-to-internal communication is a fascinating example of how the mind remains connected to the outside world even while deeply immersed in its own internal projections. It highlights the permeability of the sleep state and the brain's ability to interpret subtle cues from the environment. The stability of the dream environment can often be maintained by engaging with the persistence of objects. In the waking world, we take for granted that an object will still be there when we turn around. In the dream world, this is a matter of mental focus. By calmly deciding that the environment is permanent and stable, the dreamer helps the brain maintain the rendering of that scene. If a dreamer feels a scene beginning to fade, they might reach out and touch a nearby surface, focusing on the tactile sensation. This simple act of grounding re-engages the brain's sensory processing centers and brings the dream back into sharp, stable focus. The mild technique, or mnemonic induction of lucid dreams, is often paired with the WBTB or wake back to bed method for maximum effectiveness. The logic behind this combination is to prime the mind with intention during the time of night when REM sleep is most accessible. By waking briefly and then returning to sleep with a clear, calm thought, the dreamer enters the dream state with a working memory of their goal. This is not a task that requires effort. Rather, it is like planting a seed in a garden and then stepping back to let it grow naturally. The intention sits quietly in the background of the mind, waiting for the dream to begin. The parietal lobes of the brain are involved in processing spatial information and the sense of where the body is in relation to its surroundings. During a dream, the parietal lobes help create the sensation of being inside the dream. This sense of presence is what makes dreaming feel like a lived experience rather than just watching a movie. In a lucid dream, this sense of presence is heightened. The dreamer doesn't just see the dream, they feel themselves existing within it. This immersive quality is one of the most remarkable features of the human mind, the ability to create a completely convincing 3D environment and then inhabit it fully. The chemistry of the dreaming brain involves a decrease in levels of norepinephrine and an increase in acetylcholine. Norepinephrine is associated with stress and alertness, while acetylcholine is linked to the processing of complex information. This shift in chemical balance is what allows the brain to be highly creative and associative during sleep while remaining physically relaxed. It is a state of cool activation, where the mind can explore intricate patterns and scenarios without the hot stress responses of the waking world. This internal environment is naturally conducive to a sense of peace and safety, as the body's alarm systems are essentially turned down. Dreaming also provides a space for the brain to practice associative thinking. This is the ability to connect two seemingly unrelated ideas. In the waking world, our thoughts are often restricted by logic and practical necessity. In the dream world, these restrictions are lifted, allowing the brain to form new and unexpected connections. This is why many people find that they have their most creative ideas just after waking up. Even if the dream itself is not remembered, the neural pathways formed during these associative dream states remain, contributing to a more flexible and open-minded perspective during the day. The duration of a lucid dream can range from a few seconds to several minutes, and in some cases, it can feel like much longer. The length of the experience is often tied to how relaxed the dreamer can remain. If a person becomes too excited by the realization that they're dreaming, the brain's level of arousal can cross the threshold into wakefulness. Therefore, the most successful lucid dreamers are those who treat the experience with a sense of quiet, neutral curiosity. They move through the dream with the same slow, even pace that one might use when walking through a quiet library or a peaceful forest at dusk. The architecture of a dream is often supported by what is known as schematic knowledge. This refers to the vast mental frameworks the brain uses to organize information about the world. When you find yourself in a dream version of a library, your brain does not have to render every individual book title or the texture of every wooden shelf from scratch. Instead, it relies on the general schema of what a library is: a quiet space with rows of shelves and the scent of paper. In a state of lucidity, you can observe how the brain fills in these details as you move through the space. If you focus on a single shelf, the brain then allocates more neural resources to that specific area, creating titles and colors where there was previously just a general impression. This efficient use of mental energy allows the dreaming mind to maintain a large, immersive world while focusing only on what is immediately present. The concept of dream spinning is a physical technique used within the dream to prevent premature awakening. If a dreamer feels the dream environment beginning to dissolve or turn gray, they can begin to spin their dream body in a circle. This motion stimulates the vestibular system of the dreaming mind, providing a heavy flow of sensory information that requires the brain to stay focused on the dream state. As the dreamer spins, they might visualize a new scene forming around them. This technique is often described as a way of re-rendering the dream world. It is a calm, repetitive motion that replaces the sensation of waking with a sense of fluid transition, keeping the consciousness safely tucked within the REM cycle. The phenomenon of the vividness of the mundane is common in lucid dreams. While many people associate dream control with fantastic scenarios, many practitioners find the most peace in observing simple, everyday objects with heightened clarity. A dreamer might spend several minutes simply looking at the palm of their hand, noting the intricate lines and the way the skin seems to glow under the dream's ambient light. Or they might observe a single blade of grass, noticing the precise shade of green and the way it bends. This focused attention brings a sense of grounding and presence. It is a form of deep meditation that occurs within the sleep state, where the noise of the world is entirely absent, leaving only the observer and the object of observation in a state of quiet unity. The brain's ability to maintain narrative continuity in dreams is also a subject of scientific interest. Even when dreams are illogical or surreal, the dreamer often accepts the sequence of events as a coherent story. This is due to the activity of the brain's interpreter module, which tries to make sense of the random neural firing occurring during sleep. In a lucid dream, you can witness this process in real time. You might see a scene change abruptly from a snowy mountain to a warm kitchen, and you can observe how your mind smoothly bridges that gap, perhaps by imagining you walked through a door or simply by accepting the new setting with a neutral perspective. This flexibility of thought is a hallmark of the dreaming mind's resilient and adaptive nature. The prefrontal cortex, specifically the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, is the area of the brain that typically allows for self-reflection. In non-lucid dreams, this area is largely dormant, which is why we rarely question the strange events of a dream while they are happening. The moment of attaining lucidity is essentially the moment this part of the brain wakes up while the rest of the brain remains in a deep sleep state. This creates a unique biological condition where the logical, self-aware mind is allowed to play within the boundless playground of the subconscious. This state is sometimes called hybrid consciousness, as it possesses the clarity of the day and the creative fluidity of the night. The role of the eyes during REM sleep is also significant. Research has shown that the direction in which a dreamer moves their eyes within the dream is often mirrored by the physical movement of their eyes beneath their closed lids. This discovery was pivotal in the scientific study of lucid dreaming. Researchers were able to instruct participants to move their eyes in a specific, prearranged pattern, such as 2 looks left and 2 looks right, once they became aware they were dreaming. These signals, recorded on an EOG machine, provided the first objective proof that a person can be consciously aware while their body is physiologically in a state of deep REM sleep. It is a quiet, rhythmic signal sent from the depths of sleep to the waking world. The sense of dream gravity is often much lower than the gravity we experience during the day. Because the brain is not receiving signals from the weight-bearing joints and muscles, it often defaults to a sensation of lightness. This can make the act of walking in a dream feel like moving through a space with very little resistance. For many, this lightness is one of the most restorative aspects of the dreaming experience. It provides a literal sense of weightlessness that allows the mind to feel unburdened by the physical realities of the body. This sensation of floating or drifting is naturally calming and helps to maintain a deep state of relaxation throughout the night. The internal clock of the dream can also be influenced by the dreamer's mental state. While REM cycles have a fixed biological duration, the subjective experience of that time can be expanded. By moving slowly and focusing on the details of the environment, a dreamer can make a 5-minute REM period feel like an hour of peaceful exploration. This is not a trick of the mind, but a result of how the brain processes information density. When the mind is calm and observant, it perceives more detail, which the brain then interprets as a longer duration of time. This creates a vast, internal weekend within the span of a single night's rest. The incubation of peace is a practice where a person chooses a specific, neutral image to focus on as they drift off. This might be the image of a calm, blue lake or a forest in a gentle fog. By holding this image in the mind with a soft focus, the dreamer provides the brain with a seed for the upcoming dream cycle. As the brain enters REM, it naturally builds upon this initial image, creating a dream world that is inherently stable and quiet. This proactive approach to dreaming ensures that the mind remains in a safe and comfortable landscape, free from the stresses or fragments of the preceding day. The relationship between dream awareness and mindfulness is profound. Those who practice mindfulness in their waking life, observing their thoughts and sensations without judgment, often find it easier to achieve lucidity in their dreams. This is because the habit of noticing carries over into the sleep state. Just as one might notice the breath during meditation, the dreamer notices the unique texture of the dream state. This awareness is gentle and non-reactive. It is a quiet aha moment that does not disrupt the sleep, but rather enhances it, turning the hours of rest into a continuous stream of peaceful consciousness. The brain's default mode network is also active during dreaming. This network is associated with self-referential thought and daydreaming. During a dream, this network helps to weave the dreamer's personality and history into the dream narrative. In a lucid state, you can observe these personal elements with a sense of detached interest. You might see a house that looks like your grandmother's, but you recognize it as a construction of your own memory. This recognition allows for a sense of integration and peace, as you realize that the dream is a safe reflection of your own internal world, managed and maintained by the quiet processes of your own brain. The stability of the horizon in a dream is another interesting feature. Often, the distant background of a dream is less detailed than the immediate surroundings. By looking toward the horizon in a lucid dream, a dreamer can encourage the brain to expand the rendered environment. As the dreamer looks further out, the mind quietly populates the distance with soft hills, distant trees, or a calm sky. This process happens without effort, as the brain naturally seeks to create a complete and coherent world for the observer. The horizon acts as a gentle boundary that moves as you move, ensuring that you are always at the center of a peaceful and expansive space. The mechanism of dream language often functions differently than the spoken word. In many dream states, communication with dream characters or the understanding of written text occurs through a form of direct conceptual transfer. You may find that you simply know what a character is saying without hearing distinct words, or you may understand the meaning of a book without reading the individual letters. In a lucid dream, observing this process reveals the brain's ability to bypass sensory processing and engage directly with pure meaning. This creates a quiet efficiency within the dream, where ideas flow smoothly and without the friction of verbal translation. The mind feels clear and unencumbered, operating in a space where thought and understanding are one and the same. The concept of dream memory refers to the specific memories that are only accessible while you are in the dreaming state. Often, when you enter a dream, you may remember previous dreams that you had forgotten during your waking hours. This suggests that the brain has a separate filing system for the experiences of the night. Within a lucid dream, you might recall a landscape you visited in a dream years ago, feeling a sense of familiar comfort. This internal continuity provides a sense of belonging within the dream world, as if you are returning to a private, well-known sanctuary that exists alongside your waking life. This recognition reinforces the stability of the dream, allowing you to settle deeper into the experience with a peaceful heart. The phenomenon of sensory dampening is a natural feature of the sleep state that prevents the brain from being overwhelmed. During the night, the thalamus acts as a gatekeeper, filtering out most external sounds, lights, and physical sensations so that the mind can focus on its internal work. In a state of dream awareness, this dampening creates a focused, studio-like environment. The internal world feels crisp and clear because the competing noise of the external world has been turned down. This stillness allows for a high level of introspection and calm observation. You are in a protected space where the only thing that exists is the gentle unfolding of your own thoughts and the soft architecture of the dream. The role of the dream ego is the version of yourself that you inhabit while asleep. This version of the self often possesses a different set of expectations and a different sense of history than the waking self. When lucidity is achieved, the waking ego and the dream ego merge, creating a unified perspective. This merger is a moment of quiet integration, where the logical clarity of the day meets the intuitive depth of the night. It is not a jarring transition, but a soft alignment, like two layers of a transparency being placed perfectly on top of one another. This unified state allows for a more profound sense of self-awareness, grounded in the safety and stillness of the physical body. The top-down processing of the brain is particularly evident in dream control. In the waking world, we often use bottom-up processing, where our environment dictates our thoughts. In a lucid dream, the process is reversed. Your thoughts and expectations dictate the environment. If you decide to feel the warmth of a sun that is not yet visible, your brain will begin to simulate the sensation of heat on your skin, and subsequently, the dream may populate the sky with a gentle light. This illustrates the power of the mind to influence its own perception through quiet, steady intention. By maintaining a calm and positive mental state, the dreamer ensures that the internal environment remains a place of total tranquility. The proprioceptive sense in dreams, the awareness of where your limbs are, is entirely self-generated. Even though your physical arms are resting at your sides, your dream body can reach out and touch a flower or a smooth stone. The brain creates these sensations by activating the same motor and sensory maps used during the day. In a lucid state, you can explore these sensations with a sense of wonder, noting how real the texture of a dream object feels. Touching a surface in a dream is a common way to re-anchor lucidity, as it provides a constant stream of tactile data that tells the brain to remain in the REM cycle. It is a gentle, grounding ritual that keeps the mind present. The stability of light is another anchor for dream awareness. In many dreams, the lighting is consistent and soft, avoiding the harsh glares or deep shadows that can trigger a startle response. Observing the way light interacts with the surfaces of the dream world, how it reflects off water or filters through leaves, can be a deeply meditative exercise. Because this light is a product of your own mind, it carries a quality of inherent safety. It is a light that does not burn or dazzle, but simply illuminates the space with a calm, steady presence. Focusing on this light helps to maintain the slow, rhythmic brain waves that characterize a deep and restorative sleep. The pre-sleep review is a neutral practice where you briefly visualize the day's events in reverse order before falling asleep. This process helps the brain offload the day's information, making it easier for the mind to enter the dream state without carrying unresolved stress. By reviewing the day without judgment, you are signaling to the brain that the day is complete and that it is now time for the different work of the night. This ritual creates a clear boundary between wakefulness and sleep, allowing the transition into dreaming to be as smooth and effortless as possible. The mind becomes like a still pool of water, ready to reflect the quiet imagery of the subconscious. The theta wave state is a frequency of brain activity that occurs during deep relaxation, meditation, and REM sleep. These slow, rolling waves are associated with imagery, memory, and the creative processing of information. When you are in a lucid dream, your brain is operating in this theta-rich environment, which is why the experience feels so fluid and imaginative. This state is naturally restorative for the nervous system, as it allows the brain to process information without the high-frequency beta noise of active, analytical thinking. It is a biological period of low-power operation that focuses on healing and internal organization. The silent witness is a term used to describe the part of the consciousness that remains aware through all states of sleep. Even when we are not dreaming, this subtle spark of awareness persists, maintaining the basic functions of the body and monitoring the environment for safety. In a lucid dream, you are simply bringing this witness into the foreground. This awareness does not require effort or energy, it is a natural part of being. Recognizing this constant presence can bring a profound sense of security. You realize that even in the deepest sleep, a part of you is always there, quietly and safely holding the space for your rest. The elasticity of dream space allows for the environment to change in response to your movement. If you walk toward a distant mountain, the mountain may not get closer in the way it does in the physical world. Instead, the details of the mountain may simply become clearer as you focus on them. This is because the dream is not a physical space, but a conceptual one. Understanding this allows the dreamer to move through the world with a sense of ease. There is no need for physical exertion, only the slow, steady movement of the attention. This creates a feeling of total freedom within the dream, where every journey is a peaceful exploration of the mind's own capacity. The winter dream period is the time between REM cycles where the brain dips into deeper, dreamless sleep. These periods are essential for physical restoration and the repair of body tissues. A healthy night of sleep involves a rhythmic oscillation between these deep, quiet valleys and the active, vivid peaks of REM. For those practicing dream awareness, these quiet periods are a time of total rest, where the mind is essentially blank. This balance of vivid dreaming and deep, quiet sleep ensures that both the mind and the body receive the specific types of rest they need to function optimally. The priming effect of relaxing information is a well-documented psychological phenomenon. By listening to calm, neutral facts about science and nature before sleep, you are setting a thematic baseline for your dreams. The brain is more likely to incorporate these peaceful themes into its nocturnal narratives. Instead of processing the complexities of social life or work, the mind is encouraged to reflect on the steady, unchanging laws of the universe, the movement of the stars, the growth of plants, or the mechanics of sleep itself. This creates a sleep-safe internal environment where the dreamer can drift through the night with a sense of profound peace. The phenomenon of REM atonia is the physiological foundation of the dream state's safety. During this phase, the brain sends inhibitory signals to the motor neurons, effectively disconnecting the mind's active commands from the physical muscles. This natural paralysis is a protective mechanism, ensuring that while you may be navigating a complex internal world, your physical body remains in a state of deep, motionless repose. In the context of dream awareness, this state can be felt as a profound sense of physical stillness. When you become lucid, you might notice that your dream body feels light and capable, while simultaneously maintaining a distant, neutral awareness of the heavy, relaxed state of your physical form. This duality is a hallmark of the hybrid consciousness that defines lucid dreaming, a bridge between the stillness of the body and the activity of the mind. The granularity of detail in a lucid dream is limited only by the observer's focus. In a standard dream, objects in the periphery might be blurry or ill-defined, much like a background in a painting. However, the moment a dreamer directs their conscious attention toward a specific object, the brain's visual processing centers, particularly the primary visual cortex, allocate more neural resources to that specific area. If you were to pick up a small stone in a lucid dream and examine it closely, you would find that its texture, color, and weight become increasingly vivid the more you look at it. This on-demand rendering is an efficient use of mental energy, allowing the brain to maintain a vast, immersive environment while providing high-resolution detail exactly where the consciousness is currently resting. Sleep architecture is often visualized as a series of cycles, each lasting approximately 90 minutes. Throughout the night, the ratio of deep sleep to REM sleep shifts. In the first half of the night, deep, slow-wave sleep dominates, focusing on physical repair and immune function. As the early morning approaches, the REM periods lengthen significantly. For those interested in the quiet observation of dreams, these later hours are the most fertile. The brain has completed its primary physical maintenance and is now free to engage in the more complex, cognitive work of dreaming. This is why many people find their most stable and clear lucid dreams occur during a morning nap or in the final hour before fully waking. The mind is rested, the body is still, and the dream world is at its most expansive and detailed. The sensory substitution that occurs in dreams allows the brain to create a full sensory experience even in the absence of external input. Because the brain is a closed system during sleep, it relies on its internal library of stored sensations. If you touch a piece of velvet in a dream, your brain is not feeling velvet in the traditional sense, it is retrieving the neural pattern of a velvet texture and replaying it for your consciousness. In a lucid state, you can observe this retrieval process with neutral interest. You might notice that the sensation is perfect and consistent, a testament to the brain's incredible capacity for memory and simulation. This realization often leads to a deep sense of appreciation for the complexity and reliability of one's own internal processing systems. The continuity of the self remains remarkably stable across the transition from wakefulness to dreaming. While the dream world may be fluid and the laws of physics may be relaxed, your core sense of I typically remains the same. When you become lucid, you bring your full history, personality, and critical thinking skills into the dream. This presence of the self provides a stable anchor point from which to observe the unfolding internal narrative. You are the same person who went to sleep, now simply operating in a different environment. This continuity is what allows for the practice of dream control and the quiet, reflective exploration of the subconscious mind. It is a reminder that even in the most surreal landscapes, you are never truly lost. You are simply home, in the quiet sanctuary of your own thoughts. The theta-alpha bridge refers to the state of brainwave activity where the slow, rhythmic theta waves of dreaming meet the slightly faster alpha waves associated with relaxed alertness. This bridge is the neurological sweet spot for dream awareness. In this state, the mind is calm enough to remain in sleep but alert enough to recognize the nature of its surroundings. Maintaining this balance is like walking a gentle path between two gardens. It requires a soft, steady focus and a lack of urgency. By staying in this bridge state, the dreamer can prolong the duration of their lucidity, enjoying a long, uninterrupted period of peaceful observation. The environment remains stable, the colors stay vibrant, and the sense of peace remains deep and unwavering. The role of the central executive in the brain, the part responsible for planning and coordinating tasks, is what distinguishes a lucid dream from a standard one. In a normal dream, the central executive is largely inactive, leading to the characteristic drifting quality of dream narratives. Upon becoming lucid, this executive function is partially restored. This allows the dreamer to set small, quiet goals, such as deciding to walk toward a specific tree or choosing to observe the movement of the clouds. These choices are made without effort, flowing naturally from the dreamer's intention. This gentle exercise of will within the dream state is a form of mental training, fostering a sense of agency and calm that carries over into the waking world. The background hum of the dreaming mind is often compared to a quiet, internal radio station that is always playing. During the day, the noise of the external world drowns it out. At night, in the silence of sleep, we become aware of it. Dreaming is simply the process of the mind tuning into this internal frequency. When you are aware that you are dreaming, you are essentially listening to your own mind thinking in pictures and sensations. This perspective turns dreaming into an act of deep listening. It is not something you do, but something you attend to. This shift from doing to attending is the essence of a sleep-safe, relaxing dream experience, where the goal is simply to be a peaceful witness to the brain's natural creativity. The final stage of the sleep cycle involves a gradual return to wakefulness, often referred to as the hypnopompic state. This is the mirror image of the transition into sleep. During this time, the dream imagery may begin to fade, replaced by a growing awareness of the physical room, the warmth of the blankets, and the soft light of morning. In a lucid dream, this transition can be handled with the same quiet neutrality as the dream itself. There is no need for a sudden start. Instead, one can simply allow the dream to dissolve slowly, like mist in the morning sun. The memories of the night's observations remain clear and stable, providing a sense of calm and centeredness as you gently re-enter the waking world. The liminal transition between the lucid dream state and the waking world is marked by a slow re-engagement of the physical senses. As the brain begins to shift from the dominant theta waves of REM sleep toward the alpha waves of quiet wakefulness, the vividness of the internal world starts to recede. The colors of the dream environment may lose their saturation, and the tactile sensations of the dream body become more ethereal. This is a natural and necessary part of the sleep architecture. The dreamer remains in a state of deep relaxation, observing this fading process with the same neutral curiosity they applied to the dream itself. There is no urgency to wake, the mind simply follows the biological tide as it flows back toward the shore of reality. During these final moments of the sleep cycle, the brain's interpreter module often begins to categorize the night's experiences. This process happens beneath the surface of conscious thought, where the insights and observations made during the period of lucidity are integrated into the long-term memory structures. Even if the specific details of a dream begin to slip away, the feeling of tranquility and the sense of mental clarity often persist. This is because the physiological state of deep, aware relaxation has a lasting effect on the nervous system, lowering the baseline of stress and promoting a sense of internal harmony that can last throughout the coming day. The physical body, having been safely anchored by REM atonia for several hours, begins to regain its subtle signals. The sensation of the weight of the limbs, the rhythm of the breath, and the temperature of the room start to filter through the thalamus once again. This return to the body is a gentle process. The dreamer may find themselves in a half-awake state where they are conscious of their physical surroundings while still retaining a foot in the quiet landscape of the subconscious. This threshold is a place of profound stillness, free from the demands of time or the pressures of action. It is a period of pure existence, where the mind is at rest and the body is fully restored. As the final REM cycle concludes, the brain naturally resets its chemical balance. Acetylcholine levels decrease, and the systems responsible for alertness begin to prime themselves with a slow, steady release of norepinephrine. This biological shift is not jarring, it is as subtle as the transition from dawn to morning. The mind remains clear and unburdened, carrying the quiet lessons of the night's exploration. The practice of dream awareness has provided a sanctuary of soft science and steady observation, a space where the mind could play and rest in equal measure. This internal journey, conducted in the safety of sleep, concludes with a sense of completion and peace. The liminal transition between the lucid dream state and the waking world is marked by a slow re-engagement of the physical senses. As the brain begins to shift from the dominant theta waves of REM sleep toward the alpha waves of quiet wakefulness, the vividness of the internal world starts to recede. The colors of the dream environment may lose their saturation, and the tactile sensations of the dream body become more ethereal. This is a natural and necessary part of the sleep architecture. The dreamer remains in a state of deep relaxation, observing this fading process with the same neutral curiosity they applied to the dream itself. There is no urgency to wake, the mind simply follows the biological tide as it flows back toward the shore of reality. During these final moments of the sleep cycle, the brain's interpreter module often begins to categorize the night's experiences. This process happens beneath the surface of conscious thought, where the insights and observations made during the period of lucidity are integrated into the long-term memory structures. Even if the specific details of a dream begin to slip away, the feeling of tranquility and the sense of mental clarity often persist. This is because the physiological state of deep, aware relaxation has a lasting effect on the nervous system, lowering the baseline of stress and promoting a sense of internal harmony that can last throughout the coming day. The physical body, having been safely anchored by REM atonia for several hours, begins to regain its subtle signals. The sensation of the weight of the limbs, the rhythm of the breath, and the temperature of the room start to filter through the thalamus once again. This return to the body is a gentle process. The dreamer may find themselves in a half-awake state where they are conscious of their physical surroundings while still retaining a foot in the quiet landscape of the subconscious. This threshold is a place of profound stillness, free from the demands of time or the pressures of action. It is a period of pure existence, where the mind is at rest and the body is fully restored. As the final REM cycle concludes, the brain naturally resets its chemical balance. Acetylcholine levels decrease, and the systems responsible for alertness begin to prime themselves with a slow, steady release of norepinephrine. This biological shift is not jarring, it is as subtle as the transition from dawn to morning. The mind remains clear and unburdened, carrying the quiet lessons of the night's exploration. The practice of dream awareness has provided a sanctuary of soft science and steady observation, a space where the mind could play and rest in equal measure. This internal journey, conducted in the safety of sleep, concludes with a sense of completion and peace. The integration of the dream experience into the waking consciousness is a process of quiet alignment. As the neurochemistry of the brain shifts toward a more alert state, the boundary between the internal and external worlds becomes soft and permeable. There is no sudden break in the continuity of the self, rather, the awareness that was focused on the intricate details of the dream state expands to include the physical environment. The stillness of the room, the distant sounds of the morning, and the rhythmic pattern of breathing all become part of a single, unified awareness. This state of gentle awakening allows for a period of reflection, where the sensations of the night linger as a calm residue on the mind, fostering a sense of readiness and internal balance. In the final moments before the eyes open, the brain performs a final consolidation of the memory fragments gathered during the hours of sleep. The hippocampal activity slows as the information is transferred to more permanent storage in the neocortex, ensuring that the peace cultivated during the dreaming hours remains accessible even as the day begins. This process is a biological constant, a rhythmic return to the surface of life that is as predictable as the tides. The mind is now clear, the body is rested, and the transition is complete. The quiet exploration of the dreaming mind serves as a foundation for a day characterized by steady focus and a deep, underlying tranquility. The integration of the dream experience into the waking consciousness is a process of quiet alignment. As the neurochemistry of the brain shifts toward a more alert state, the boundary between the internal and external worlds becomes soft and permeable. There is no sudden break in the continuity of the self, rather, the awareness that was focused on the intricate details of the dream state expands to include the physical environment. The stillness of the room, the distant sounds of the morning, and the rhythmic pattern of breathing all become part of a single, unified awareness. This state of gentle awakening allows for a period of reflection, where the sensations of the night linger as a calm residue on the mind, fostering a sense of readiness and internal balance. In the final moments before the eyes open, the brain performs a final consolidation of the memory fragments gathered during the hours of sleep. The hippocampal activity slows as the information is transferred to more permanent storage in the neocortex, ensuring that the peace cultivated during the dreaming hours remains accessible even as the day begins. This process is a biological constant, a rhythmic return to the surface of life that is as predictable as the tides. The mind is now clear, the body is rested, and the transition is complete. The quiet exploration of the dreaming mind serves as a foundation for a day characterized by steady focus and a deep, underlying tranquility. The integration of the dream experience into the waking consciousness is a process of quiet alignment. As the neurochemistry of the brain shifts toward a more alert state, the boundary between the internal and external worlds becomes soft and permeable. There is no sudden break in the continuity of the self, rather, the awareness that was focused on the intricate details of the dream state expands to include the physical environment. The stillness of the room, the distant sounds of the morning, and the rhythmic pattern of breathing all become part of a single, unified awareness. This state of gentle awakening allows for a period of reflection, where the sensations of the night linger as a calm residue on the mind, fostering a sense of readiness and internal balance. In the final moments before the eyes open, the brain performs a final consolidation of the memory fragments gathered during the hours of sleep. The hippocampal activity slows as the information is transferred to more permanent storage in the neocortex, ensuring that the peace cultivated during the dreaming hours remains accessible even as the day begins. This process is a biological constant, a rhythmic return to the surface of life that is as predictable as the tides. The mind is now clear, the body is rested, and the transition is complete. The quiet exploration of the dreaming mind serves as a foundation for a day characterized by steady focus and a deep, underlying tranquility. The integration of the dream experience into the waking consciousness is a process of quiet alignment. As the neurochemistry of the brain shifts toward a more alert state, the boundary between the internal and external worlds becomes soft and permeable. There is no sudden break in the continuity of the self, rather, the awareness that was focused on the intricate details of the dream state expands to include the physical environment. The stillness of the room, the distant sounds of the morning, and the rhythmic pattern of breathing all become part of a single, unified awareness. This state of gentle awakening allows for a period of reflection, where the sensations of the night linger as a calm residue on the mind, fostering a sense of readiness and internal balance. In the final moments before the eyes open, the brain performs a final consolidation of the memory fragments gathered during the hours of sleep. The hippocampal activity slows as the information is transferred to more permanent storage in the neocortex, ensuring that the peace cultivated during the dreaming hours remains accessible even as the day begins. This process is a biological constant, a rhythmic return to the surface of life that is as predictable as the tides. The mind is now clear, the body is rested, and the transition is complete. The quiet exploration of the dreaming mind serves as a foundation for a day characterized by steady focus and a deep, underlying tranquility. Resting the mind and allowing the body to become heavy is a natural conclusion to the day. You might find it helpful to focus on the rhythmic flow of your breath, letting each exhale carry away any remaining tension. The world around you is quiet, and the space you are in is secure and dedicated to your comfort. There is no need to carry the thoughts of the day into this period of recovery. As you drift closer to the edge of awareness, the internal landscape becomes soft and inviting. The transition is a gentle process, much like a slow descent into calm, clear water. You may allow yourself to sink into the support of your bed, feeling the stillness of the room and the steadiness of the night. It is time to let go of effort and simply exist in the quiet. Sleep deeply. Dream well. Sleep well. Go to sleep.